The hotel manager spikes his customers' drinks and takes them to room 207 for the mysterious man who checks in every week, a killer hiding in plain sight. This story isn't just dark, it's twisted, chilling, and deeply disturbing. Let me tell you what really happens in room 207. Before we continue, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments section. Your support means everything, and it helps keep these chilling tales alive. Now, let's continue. The night shift at Ridgeway Hotel was always quiet. David sat behind the front desk, sipping his lukewarm coffee and flipping through an old mystery novel. The ticking clock on the wall was the loudest sound in the lobby. It was nearly midnight when the glass door slid open. A tall man stepped inside. He wore a black coat, shiny leather shoes, and a dark hat that cast a shadow over his eyes. His face was calm, but something about him made David sit up straight. He had seen this man before. "Good evening," the man said with a smooth voice, placing a black leather wallet on the counter. "One night. I'll take room 207. David's fingers froze on the keyboard. This was the fourth time the same man had come to the hotel in 2 months. But each time he had used a different name and ID. Tonight, the name on the ID said Mr. Blackwell. Room 207. Always the same room. David forced a smile. "Of course, sir." He typed quickly and handed over the key card. The man gave a small nod and slipped the card into his coat pocket. Without another word, he walked down the hallway toward the elevator. David watched him go, heart beating a little faster than usual. Once the man was out of sight, David opened the guest file on the computer. He pulled up the last 3 visits, different names, Mr. Alan Cole, Mr. James Hunter, Mr. Vincent Gray. But the face in the photo was always the same. David clicked the mouse nervously. It wasn't illegal to use different names. Maybe the man was a private person. But why room 207 every time? Why always alone? And why did housekeeping always find blood-stained bedsheets the next morning? The first time it happened, the cleaner, Mrs. Agnes, came running downstairs, pale and shaking. "There's blood on the bed," she whispered. So much blood. But when David and the manager checked the room, there was no body, no mess, just a single red stain on the white sheet, already dry. The second time it was the same. Blood on the pillow. No guests complained. No one called the police. The man always left before dawn and tipped the staff generously. "Mind your business," the manager told David. "Some guests are strange. As long as they pay and don't cause noise, let it be." But David couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, after Mr. Blackwell checked in, David waited until the lobby was quiet again. He reached under the desk and pulled out a small notebook he kept hidden beneath the counter. He flipped to a page titled Room 207 and added a note. "Mr. Blackwell, checked in at 11:57 p.m. Tall black coat, same face as last time. Different name again. Requested room 207. He looked at the copy of the man's ID. Something about the photo bothered him. The ID looked real, shiny, clean, professional. But the name Blackwell was printed slightly off-center, and the date of birth had strange numbers. Out of curiosity, David opened his phone and searched the name Blackwell with the image of the man. After a few minutes, he found something chilling. A missing person report. The photo was the same. Not similar, exact. But the name under it wasn't Blackwell. It was Daniel Cruz, missing from a town 2 states away. Last seen entering a hotel. David stared at the screen, his mouth dry. He looked at the elevator. The light showed the man was still on the 2nd floor. His fingers trembled as he added to his notebook. ID is fake. Matches missing person from another state. Something is wrong with this man. He stared at the elevator for a long time. The next night, the man didn't return. But 2 nights later, he did, now using the name Mr. Eldon Shaw. Again, room 207. David smiled politely and handed him the key. As soon as the man went upstairs, David took a deep breath and made a decision. He was going to follow him. Later that night, when the hotel was quiet and no other guests were in the lobby, David slipped away from the front desk. He took off his shoes and walked silently down the hallway, up the stairs to the 2nd floor. He stayed in the shadows near the corner, just in time to see the man walk toward room 207. But this time he wasn't alone. A woman walked beside him, short, wearing a red coat, her head down. She looked nervous. David couldn't hear what they were saying, but the man placed a hand on her back and gently guided her into the room. The door closed. The hallway fell silent. David stayed hidden for a few minutes. Then he tiptoed closer. He pressed his ear against the door. Nothing. No voices, no footsteps, no TV. Just silence. He waited 10 minutes. 15. Still no sound. No movement. David slowly backed away, heart pounding. He returned to the lobby, pretending everything was normal. He stared at the security monitor for room 207. The hallway camera showed nothing after the two of them went in. The woman never came out. David couldn't sleep. The image of the woman in the red coat haunted him. He never saw her leave room 207. Not through the front door. Not through the hallway. It was like she vanished. He sat on his bed, staring at his notebook. His hands were shaking. "Who is that man?" he whispered to himself. "What is he doing to these people?" The next morning, David returned to the hotel early. The night shift was over, but room 207 was now empty again. The man had checked out before dawn like always. Another generous tip left on the nightstand. But this time David wasn't going to wait. He put on the hotel's maintenance uniform and grabbed a tool belt. When no one was looking, he took the spare keycard for room 207 and walked upstairs. His heart thudded in his chest. He paused at the door. Then slowly, quietly, he let himself in. The room looked perfect. The bed was made. The air smelled like lemon polish. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. But something felt wrong. Too clean. Too quiet. David moved to the bed and knelt down. He ran his hands along the floor, gently tapping. After a few minutes, one wooden board made a dull, hollow sound. He froze. With trembling fingers, he grabbed a screwdriver from his belt and pried the board loose. Beneath it was a small space, dark and dusty. He reached inside and pulled out a bundle wrapped in cloth. He opened it slowly. Inside were wallets, all with different IDs and names. Watches, earrings, a small rusty knife, and multiple passports. Some had dried brown stains on the corners. David's mouth went dry. "These belong to them," he whispered. "The missing people." He stuffed everything back in the cloth and carefully put the board back in place. His heart pounded so loudly he thought someone might hear. Later that afternoon, David met with someone he trusted, Officer Clara, a retired policewoman who used to stay at the hotel when visiting town. She had always been kind to him, almost like an aunt. He showed her the photos he took of the items and told her everything. Her face turned serious. "This is worse than I thought," she said. "I've seen reports about people disappearing near here. Always the same type, solo travelers, late check-ins, and never seen again." She pulled out a small notebook from her bag and flipped through pages. 6 missing persons in the last 4 months, she said. All went missing near this area. No bodies. No answers. "You say room 207 is always booked by the same man, just under different names?" David nodded. "Yes." He's smooth, polite, but cold. "I checked one of his IDs. It matched a missing person." Clara narrowed her eyes. "He's clever. He's not killing them in a messy way. No screams. No blood in the open. Just stains, enough to send a message." David swallowed hard. "What do I do?" Clara touched his shoulder. "Be careful. Keep watching. But don't act alone. He's dangerous." That evening, David couldn't keep it to himself anymore. He walked into the manager's office and shut the door behind him. "Sir," he began. "We need to talk. About room 207. The manager sighed and looked up from his desk. "What now, David?" "There's something wrong with that guest. He's used different names and I checked. His IDs are fake. And the blood." The manager raised a hand. "Stop. I told you before. Let it go." David clenched his fists. "I found personal items hidden under the floor. Belongings from missing people. This isn't just weird. It's serious." The manager stood. His voice dropped. "Listen to me. If you like your job, you'll stop asking questions. You think you're the first to notice? This hotel has been quiet for years because we don't go digging." David stared at him in shock. "You knew?" The manager leaned closer. "Some guests pay for privacy. You don't want trouble. Let it go, David. I'm warning you." That night, David went home angry and afraid. He tossed his notebook on the table and sat on the couch, rubbing his eyes. Then rustle. He looked down. A folded paper was on the floor, half under his door. Someone had slipped it inside. He picked it up slowly. In thin black letters it read, "Room 207 knows you. Be careful." David's hand shook. He ran to the door and opened it, but the hallway outside his apartment was empty. His chest tightened. "He knows I've been watching." He locked the door and grabbed his phone. Later that night, David returned to the hotel and went straight to the security room. He needed proof. Something to take to the police. He opened the computer and searched the security footage for the last few nights. But when he clicked on the files for room 207's hallway, file not found. He checked the backup drive. Nothing. Every night that man had stayed, the footage was deleted. David sat back in the chair, cold sweat running down his neck. Someone had erased it all. He stared at the monitor, heart racing. Just then the front desk phone rang. He rushed out to answer it. Ridgeway Hotel, how can I? A deep voice interrupted him. Room 207, the voice said. I'll be checking in shortly. David's blood ran cold. He hung up and stared at the entrance. Minutes later, the glass doors slid open. The man walked in. Black coat. Black hat. Same calm face. But this time he didn't say anything. He just smiled, directly at David. David couldn't sleep again. His mind was filled with fear. The man had looked straight at him, like he knew everything. That night after work, David bought a tiny spy camera online. It looked like a USB charger. No one would notice it. The next morning when the cleaning staff went in, David followed with his maintenance tools. He plugged the camera into the wall socket behind the bed in room 207. It had a direct view of the room. He left quietly and waited. That night, everything would be recorded. At 10:37 p.m. the man returned. He signed in as Mr. Fields this time. Same cold smile. Same sharp black coat. But this time he wasn't alone. David watched from the security room and nearly dropped his coffee. The hotel manager was with him. David hit the record button. The manager opened room 207, looked around nervously, then handed the man a small brown bottle. Same dose? The manager asked quietly. Yes, the man replied, his voice low and calm. She'll be here in 20 minutes. David's mouth went dry. Another victim was coming. He had to act fast. David grabbed his phone and dialed 911. No signal. He tried the hotel's landline. Dead. He punched the desk. They cut the lines, he whispered. He ran out to the parking lot, pacing, panic rising. Just then a car pulled up. It was Clara. She stepped out quickly, her sharp eyes scanning David's face. I had a feeling, she said. What happened? They're in room 207 right now, David said breathlessly. The manager is helping him drug people. He said someone is coming tonight. Clara's face hardened. We need backup. I'll call in a favor. She stepped aside and pulled out her phone. David followed her inside. He was shaking. What if they already have her? What if we're too late? We're not, Clara said firmly. Stay calm. Follow my lead. Back at the front desk, David turned the corner and froze. Ethan Cross was standing there, alone. The manager was gone. Ethan smiled. Good evening, David. Working late again? David didn't answer. He felt Clara step forward beside him. Mr. Cross, she said. Why don't you come with us? Ethan tilted his head. Do I know you? Clara Bell, she said, flashing a badge. Retired but still connected. Ethan's eyes darkened. You've been watching me. Clara raised her voice. Police are on the way. It's over. Ethan's smile faded. For a moment, silence filled the lobby. Then he ran. Stop him. Clara shouted, pulling out a small pistol from her purse. David chased after him, his legs weak but moving fast. Ethan bolted up the stairs. David followed, lungs burning. At the third floor, Ethan kicked open a supply door and vanished into the maintenance hallway. Back exit, David gasped. He knows this place. Suddenly, Clara yelled from behind, Watch out! Ethan spun around and struck David across the face. He fell hard, blood in his mouth. Clara fired once, missed. They wrestled near the elevator. Ethan grabbed her arm, twisted it, and slammed her against the wall. But Clara fought back. She kicked his knee, then raised the gun and fired. Bang! Ethan fell, clutching his chest. Blood spread fast across his shirt. Clara dropped to her knees, breathing hard. David crawled over. Are you okay? I'm fine, she said, wincing. Is he? David leaned closer. Ethan wasn't moving. Yes, he whispered. It's over. Police sirens echoed outside. Officers stormed and minutes later, guns raised. They arrested the hotel manager who had been hiding in the basement. The woman who had been drugged was found in room 207, alive but unconscious. Paramedics helped David, who had a broken rib and a swollen jaw. Clara had a bruised shoulder, but she smiled as the sun began to rise. You did good, kid, she said, patting David's back. You saved her. And maybe more. The Ridgeway Hotel was shut down by the end of the week. News crews flooded the street. David's face was on every channel. Hero clerk uncovers murder ring. People shook his hand. Strangers thanked him. He became a local hero. But even with all the praise, David couldn't sleep well. The nightmares didn't stop. 3 weeks later he was resting at home. Still healing. Still recovering. A small package arrived at his doorstep. No name. No return address. He opened it slowly. Inside was an old hotel room key. Room 207. And a handwritten note. You didn't check under the second floorboard. David's hands trembled. He looked around his apartment. Silence. He read the note again. The air turned cold. His heartbeat pounded. Was it a prank? Was it from someone else? Or was there more? He stared at the key. Then very slowly he set it down and locked his front door. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think about the man in room 207. Your support means the world to me and helps me create more thrilling stories just for you. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.